Well, sadly, I had to actually rebuild the front speaker section here. That's because the original one I had, which is long gone now, was actually reversed. That way, so it wouldn't actually look right on the dubstep gun. It's actually supposed to look like this, like the one I got here, because this is the rebuilt one. It sounds exactly the same and everything else, but yeah. So hopefully today I can get the front end built and the side sections actually somewhat put together or figured out and whatnot. But that's not really what I'm going to talk about in this video, is because I actually got a few things I needed to actually really start building Kazha's dubstep gun out. And one of those things is a secondary amp to power the LEDs on our dubstep gun. I actually got this thing for $8 at Target. And this thing actually cost $30 originally, and I was actually really wanting this thing for a while. But actually now seeing how this thing actually functions when it comes to the sensitivity with the lights here, I'm very happy I didn't get this thing for $30. This is about an $8 Bluetooth speaker because the responsiveness of the LEDs on this thing is garbage in comparison to what my homemade dubstep gun is. So to give you an idea of what I mean by that, I'm going to play my dubstep gun first, and then I'm going to play this thing. So give me a second to set this thing up and come back. Alright, and this is the responsive test for my dubstep gun with the LEDs and whatnot. So this is the responsive test for this little Bluetooth speaker thingy. So, as you can tell, this thing's pretty much all over the place. Because I was actually thinking that I could actually just solder some wires and actually run the LEDs on Kazha's dubstep gun off this thing here. But since these things are pretty much all over the place and there's really no proper syncing with the music and whatnot, I'm just going to basically gut this thing just for the amplifier and just basically toss these LEDs and use them in something else I'm going to build. Luckily, this thing is just a simple removable cap, because there's a little screw right there that I can use to actually pop the rest of this thing apart. I'm actually going to do that later in this video to show what's inside this thing, but I want to finish off what I actually wanted to talk about. So I'm now coming back to my dubstep gun to help try and explain what else I got. So I also got these little resistors from my local Radio Shack. Yes, there is at least two local Radio Shacks in my state that are still locally owned. Thank God that I can go and get stuff like this instead of buying them off Amazon, because at least there I'm with someone that's knowledgeable and can properly point out the resistors or transformers that I need to get this done. So what these little resistors are going to do is that they're going to take the power that is being ran through this amplifier right here, which is 7.2 volts or 7.4 volts at 2.4 amps, I believe, and dumps it down to a more manageable 5 to about 3 volts. That the little Bluetooth thing I just showed off, the board can run off of. Because the maximum amount of voltage that motherboard can handle is about 5 volts, and that's when the battery's charging. With these things, with one of these little resistors, what I have in my head is I'll actually just power the board through the battery through the battery wires and whatnot, and actually not run it through the charging port. But I gotta see what these things actually dump the voltage down to. From what the person said, 4 volts. So I'm gonna make sure before I do anything like that. So let me bring in my DubStep gun again to help hopefully try to explain how I'm gonna do this. Let me turn all this stuff off first. So now let's see. Is there any way I can get this more proper? Yeah, something like that, I guess. So basically the layout on Kazha's DubStep gun is gonna more or less be just like this, but hopefully not a rat's nest. So basically, main amp's going to be around here, so maybe towards the back a little more, I don't know yet. And then there's going to be a secondary wire going from the power supply to the secondary amp right here. And one of these little resistors is going to be on the hot lead, also known as the positive lead, to help basically step down the power so the motherboard can function properly. And of course, I'm just going to have the LEDs running off the actual speaker wires and whatnot, so it'll more or less function just like my current DubStep gun. So yeah. So with that said, I'm now actually going to take that thing apart and show you what's inside it. Now, I'm sorry for this video being so long. I'm actually just going to upload this video as is, because the next video is actually going to be me just actually putting the rest of this together, testing it out, making sure it works properly, and also hopefully building some of the asides and whatnot too. So let me get everything set up for that for me to take that thing apart, and I'll come back. Alright, so time to take this thing apart and see what exactly is inside it. Simple little LED circuit board. I'm guessing those are Chinese letterings. Okay, I think I can kind of see how this works. Okay, it looks like there's one of the little clasps that's holding the shroud on. Sorry I'm not able to keep it in shot. I'm recording this thing on a crummy homemade tripod, so the actual stand itself, if I go like this, I knock into it. So I'm trying to figure out a way to where I can actually keep this stuff in shot, and also see what the heck I'm actually doing. Alright. So right here is the actual main speaker. Oh, so right here is the actual holes that the actual sound waves pop out of and whatnot. Of course, the camera really doesn't want to all focus onto them, but there are little holes all throughout the sides here. So then, if I just bet you there's some screws underneath this little rubber piece here. Yep. I see 4. I mean 3. Also, the other thing I'm wanting to see is what the battery pack is, because the guy that gave me the resistors, he made it so the thing can resist up to 500 milliamps of power. So I gotta figure out what the battery in here is rated for. I'm thinking it might be rated around there, considering this thing has some power, at least 3 LEDs, and these are some fairly beefy LEDs for what they are. So I have to see what they are. Okay, and there's the on and off switch. I'll just do a secondary on power. I'll just modify that slightly. That's easily modifiable. Okay, I see the battery, which is right here. I'm trying to figure out how to pop this apart without actually breaking it, so I'm actually going to pause the video and come back. Okay, it turned out the only thing that was stopping it from popping off was this little speaker, right? This little mic right here. It wouldn't come loose from the wire, so I just popped it off. Since this thing's going to be inside Kazha's DubStep gun and not connecting via Bluetooth, so it really doesn't need the mic. And also the person that got me the resistors was spot on too. The battery in this thing is a 500 milliamp hour battery. So I give massive props to the guy that gave me the resistors at Radio Shack. Alright, so let's see. So these wires are, so this big wire batch is the battery. And these wires go to the speaker. Okay, so I just have to desolder these two and just solder on my own custom batch of wires. I can pretty much just pull these off and ignore them because these wires right here goes to the LED array right here. Let's see, of course we got the little buttons I need. I'm going to do a custom solder job on the volume up and volume down buttons. That way so Kazha can have those two to control the brightness of the LEDs and whatnot and responsiveness. Okay, looks like that's the Bluetooth thingy right there. So then this must be the charging LED, or yeah, that must be the charging LED. So I don't actually need that. So I'm this video is pretty much done now because I managed to pop this thing apart and figure out what's inside this thing. I'm very happy I got lucky because the battery is the exact same amount of wattage that the resistors are designed to resist up to. So we're good there too. So like I said, I'm gonna upload this video as is and hopefully have another video up soon of me actually putting this of me doing some more building on this dubstep gun of Kazha's. Also on Tuesday, I'm actually going to go and take the knowledge exam for driving test and whatnot, and see if I pass. I think I'm going to unfortunately be SpongeBobbing the driving knowledge exam for a few times, but generally speaking, the knowledge exam is just everything you should know type thing. And the first time I actually took the knowledge exam, I missed only 3. I missed either 3 or 5. There's 25. Either 3 or 5. I think I need at least like 20 or so right to pass. I got really, really close first time around on the knowledge exam. So hopefully Tuesday I'll get lucky, but I'll have to wait and see. Oh yeah, also I'm going to leave with this right here. I actually got this aircraft body for $4 at my local Goodwill. So someone basically gave Goodwill a $50 RC airplane replacement piece, and I got it for $4. This thing already has the push rods installed. It came with the little gear, with the setup for the nose gear to get the servo and everything running. So this right here will be one of my upcoming projects, hopefully, and I hope to actually get this thing up and running. This is a $300 ready to fly RC Cessna from eFlight. This thing's from 2012. The copyright on this thing is 2010. So this airplane right here, this airplane model that eFlight's been making is about 10 years old now, is around 8 years old now and whatnot. Heck, it even came with the original bag, which is right there. And here's the actual little sticker thing if you want to look this thing up. Again, I'm amazed. I'm amazed I got a $50 piece for $4. Thank you, Goodwill. You once again showed you're an awesome place to shop at. Now I just need to find myself a telescope at Goodwill and save the poor Scopy from someone not knowing what they're doing. So yeah, with that, this is an upcoming project hopefully. Also, I do plan on rebuilding the Thunder Tank from Thundercats. Hopefully sometime after this, I think I'm going to be building the OG one. And then I'll eventually build the reboot one, which is from 2011. I'm not touching anything from the newest reboot, because that newest reboot is cancer.